All right, welcome back to Hear Me Out. It's just a thought. Hope you're doing well. Today's agenda is a little bit special because we are talking about something, or I guess someone that has the internet buzzing, not today, but always has the internet buzzing. And so my feed has been going crazy, possibly yours as well. And the person is Candace Owens, and her comments or non-comments about Erika Kirk, the wife, the widow of Charlie Kirk, and a whole lot of speculation from left and right. And I do already know, of course, that just saying the words Candace Owens in 2025 brings in a crowd. Some of you listening love her. Some of you listening absolutely hate her. Some of you are not sure, but I think it's very few of people who are not sure. Either way, I do think that her name pulls in people, and it is, in my opinion, because she boils something in us. People like her, people like Candace Owens, I think reveal how divided we are, passionate also, but also how curious we've become as a culture, and that is why it is relevant for our channel. And I like studying her moves and people like her. I know people like her in real life as well, and so I like studying that because to get wise, you have to understand why people do what they do and how other folks react. And so, yes, I want to talk about the reactions to her because it says a lot about us. And that's my goal here on the channel. So if you're here for that, I guess the deeper meaning of her address, welcome, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Hear me out. It's all just a thought. Okay, so first things first, if you are here for the first time, thank you for stopping by. My name is Gigi. I like to talk about faith and culture and everything that is in between. I like to see what is trending online and in real life and talk about what it means for us. Most times it reveals something about human nature, and I like to talk about faith because our good God has already said everything that he needed to about his creation, and it's good to go find the truth and apply truth in our daily lives. And so that's kind of my modus operandi here on this channel. If that sounds good to you, click subscribe so we can stick together. And of course, like I said, because I check what's trending to then talk about us as human beings, everyone and their mother, in my feed at least. I don't know. What is your feed talking about, by the way? What's going on in your feed? In your coffee chats at work, on your Instagram, on your X, on your TikTok? What's happening? What are people talking about? Because my feed is full of people hating on Candace and people loving on Candace for her comments about Erika Kirk. And so I knew, because it was making waves online, I should say, I needed to check why. And I have thoughts. Of course, I have thoughts. And so, of course, you have thoughts. I can't wait to hear yours, but I guess read yours. And so everybody's talking about Erika Kirk, and all of the noise around her online is getting stronger. And so, of course, people also are checking in and listening to Candace Owens. She has a podcast. I think it's been growing a lot lately, and her audience demanded that she speak up, from what I could gather and in her comments, since she's been openly investigating Charlie's death and calling out everyone and their mother too. Well, people are wondering why for a good while she hasn't said anything about Erika Kirk, because according to, I guess, the public, Erika has, questionable things happening on her, in her, about her, all of that. And so people are demanding that, Candace speak on it. So that's already interesting, because when you're a public figure, I talked, was it yesterday or a day before, about Thomas Massey and his marriage and remarriage and how people react. When you're a public figure, people can demand things from you because they follow you, and you have to make a choice on how you address or don't address it. You have to understand that your choice will have an impact on who listens to you, how often, what kind of people listen to you. It will impact your objectives, I guess. And so for a while, when it comes to Candace Owens commenting about Erika Kirk, she was silent. She said nothing at all. And when she finally did respond, I took time to dig up that passage of her podcast, or that what do you want to call it? Yeah, I'll say passage. It's probably not the right vocabulary for a video. I don't know how to say that. But when she did respond, she kept it short and clean, which I guess she strategized about. But I retained two reasons. She said that she saw nothing. She sees nothing in Erika's words or actions that is worth debunking. And so for her, it wasn't worth going after Erika for no reason, because there was nothing that she said or did that was worth debunking in her current investigation about Charlie Kirk's death. She also took time to remind people in her words that Erika is the mother of Charlie's children. And of course, that she, Candace, finds that attacking her without reason would be distasteful. And that's it. That's how she addressed it. And people, I guess my reading of the situation from online is that people were calling her out, saying, no, we feel like you're hiding something, or you're not going hard enough, or we're sure that you can see that there's more. You're probably just being careful, or you're just playing blind to this. And I'm going to tell you in a bit, I guess, why it matters for this channel, because we don't normally talk about the back and forth between audiences and hosts, podcast hosts. We don't also necessarily do investigations. That's not the orientation of this channel. But with her response, with her addressing the situation, there is a link to what I like to talk about on this channel, the mixture of faith and culture, the intersection of faith and culture. So stay with me. But before I even go on, let me pause and ask you if you have heard of this situation, if you've been following. I don't necessarily want to know if you love or hate Erika, or love or hate Candace, or love or hate Charlie, or love or hate the FBI. That's not really here. That's not the point of this channel. I mostly wanted to see if it's been making noise on your corner of the internet as well. And what did you think of the address if you watched it? Here's what I think, and I'll tie it into wisdom, because my point here is wisdom. Whether you love Candace Owens or you cannot stand Candace Owens, I think I can honestly say that move right there, or the address, was strategy. She's a strategist. And I don't think it's when it comes to politics. She's strategic with her words, actions, the way she addresses situations as a host of a podcast and as a businesswoman. If you take a step back, I took time to kind of look at what she's been doing or not doing when it comes to addressing people she actually knows and frequents in real life. And I could gather at least, 1, 2, 3 examples, I guess, or 3 examples, I'll call them, of the same strategy she's applying here, which is way back when. I mostly followed when she was talking or not talking about Kanye West. So when everybody was dragging Kanye for good or bad reasons, I can't remember the full context of it, but I remember her, or the rounds of her videos of her saying that she won't address it in public, that she won't respond to the pressure of addressing it in public, that he was her friend, and therefore that she will just not go attack him or defend him or whatever. I also remember somebody in a couple of months ago when I was having a conversation, and the person mentioned Candace Owens. She said that she does not parade her husband around. She sometimes talks about him, or she will, of course, bring him on every now and then, but very, very rarely in front of cameras. And she will not necessarily disclose every single thing about her personal relationship with her husband. And then another person brought up, which is a good point, that she used to work for the Daily Wire and things did not end too well. And so we can imagine that things were not pretty behind the scenes, but she kept her relationship with Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, who are current hosts on the Daily Wire. And so she does not necessarily talk a whole lot about her relationship with them, given that they still work at the Daily Wire, and she might have, feelings that are not so great about the Daily Wire leadership. And so what I'm gathering here as a pattern is that she will speak on things and she will choose to not speak on other. And the common denominator where I see something is that when it touches her real life personal friendships or personal, I guess, romantic relationship with her husband, she will be extra careful to not mix too much her personal with her business. And so because she claims, and I guess some people are debating whether this is true or false. I don't know these people personally, but she's saying that Charlie was her friend, right? And she's mourning him. And so she's probably being careful, as people called out online, and she's not giving, commentary on his family, right? Erika Kirk and the kids, beyond what is necessary. And that's kind of what I feel is consistent with Kanye and her husband and the Daily Wire. She will give enough commentary when it's pertinent to whatever she's doing, but she won't just comment on her friends to only comment on her friends or family. And so I'm trying to see how I can express what I'm trying to feel, but she draws the lines between public and what's private, except when it's for people she does not know. Here's how it ties into my channel and what I like to talk about and wisdom. And I'm probably irritating my voice. It was starting to be back, and now my throat is playing tricks on me. So I'm probably gonna lose it gradually as I speak. Just don't pay attention. Here's how it ties into what I like to talk about. Apart from sharing thoughts online, apart from talking about wisdom and faith and culture online, I'm also a professional, and a lot of us are professionals. A lot of us have jobs where we might have some authority in a field of life, a field of work, and I'm a professional myself in a field that I don't need to specify that online. But as a professional myself in a completely different field, I can understand what she is doing, and I do recommend everyone does this. Hear me out. It's just a thought. I do see her move, and I'm not talking about their friendship. I know nothing about what I don't know. If I don't know things, I just don't know things, but I can observe and talk about what I'm observing. I see her move here, her response and the way she went about it as both wise and business smart. She is keeping people watching, of course, without letting things go fully left, right? She is protecting some kind of piece or some kind of brand, and she might be protecting the people that she actually cares about. If her heart is in the right place, she probably cares about her dead, friend, but also his family, his wife and kids, as she said, excuse me. And I don't believe personally for one second that she has nothing to critique about the direction that the organization he left behind is taking, or his wife's appearances. I don't personally believe that, because from what I can gather, Candace Owens always has thoughts, and so do we. Right? We always have thoughts on something. And that's why, like I said, I'm bringing it to the channel. And we all have thoughts on something. And one of her gifts, I would call it, is to share her thoughts and draw people in as she's sharing the thoughts. And so she's choosing not to treat Erika, though, the same way that she treats other public figures and politicians, because Erika was her friend's wife, and I think it's discernment. I honestly do think that is discernment coming from her. I want us to apply that, and I'll explain why. I think where we culturally, I think we're in a world where silence is often mistaken for guilt or avoidance, but I think it actually takes strength to say, I'm not going there, I'm going to keep silent, or I'm going to be patient before I address something. This ties right into the episode I made about Thomas Massey's, people commenting under his post and being so quick to just fully go in. And I know that if I can kind of jump all the way, fast forward into the word, the good book teaches something about how to use words with restraint. And in the book of Proverbs, we're taught that the one who has knowledge uses words with restraint. I am not saying that is the reason Candace Owens is doing that. I am saying this example where I can see somebody probably having a lot of opinions, or probably having a lot of information, even possibly, and choosing. I can see she's choosing to be restrained. She's probably choosing to be patient. That's not her words to us. That's my lecture of the situation. I can see the good in that. And Proverbs also teaches that when words are many, sin is not absent, but he who holds his tongue is wise. Meaning, in her example, I'm not sure what it could look like depending on what she says. But when we apply it to our own lives, if we're unsure that we should say something, if we're unsure that it's time to say something, the Bible also teaches that there's a time to be silent, there's a time to speak, there's a time for each thing. It is probably wisest to be restrained, because if our words are many, if we just go out and say all of the things, sin is not absent. We can make the mistake of saying things that are untrue or hurtful or whatever it is. Again, separating the word, the Bible, God's teachings, from Candace Owens, the podcaster. I don't know why she chose it. I think it's a business strategy mixed up with her own wisdom for sure, and her wanting to possibly protect people she loves. But it kind of applies to us as well. Candace seems, I don't know if it's true, but she seems to understand the principle of sometimes it's best to wait. Sometimes it's best to not talk. Sometimes it's best to not cave to the pressure, even if it comes from people that love us, follow us, pay us even, or make our business grow, make our business prosper. And I think it is a smart move. And I think that wisdom isn't always about what you say. Sometimes it's about what you don't. She also understands if I can share what I think. Of course I can. I'm on a whole podcast called Sharing My Thoughts. Hear me out. It's just a thought. And I'm asking you if I can. Anyways, let me bring it back. I'm talking to myself. I think she knows, of course, that the way I see it is she knows that her audience is picking up on her restraint and forming their own opinions. That's my thought. Let me know what you think. So I think on a strategic side, this was a textbook smart move for anyone who would want to draw people in. Either you draw in because of your silence, they want you to say more. Either you draw them in with your inconsistency because they're thinking, what's wrong with her? I need to stick here. I need to pressure her. So you're watching. Either people are going to be like, that's so wise. That's so amazing. She's so godly. And so they're going to stick around. On a business strategic side, it is wise. But I am not encouraging us to use restraint only for strategy. It could be wise to be restrained only for strategy, but also in real life, because our good God tells us it's probably wise, is what I'm saying. The Bible teaches us how to live life. The Bible teaches us how to make sure that we're not sinning out of our fleshly desire to just be right and be loud and be the first and be the quickest and be impatient and all of that. And like I said, it's both for Candace, in my opinion. It's strategy, but it's also her personal life wisdom. She knows her platform thrives on engagement. If she says too much, she feeds into the chaos. If she says nothing, people keep waiting and therefore watching. And that is control, in my opinion. And so I'm not going to speak on, is she a good person? Is she a bad person? That's for God to decide. That's not on me. But I can recognize a good strategy, and I can recognize also something that I want to encourage all of us to apply in our lives, which is restraint. Now, when it comes to people that are going to say she normally does not restrain herself, she should be I guess, yeah, go write that under her comments. This channel is about wisdom and it's about us. So I was using her example for that. Here's the takeaway, because I said a lot there. Sorry, that was long-winded. How are you doing? Are you still here? Just click like a like. Give me a like to tell me you've listened to my rant, because sometimes I just go off. As I was saying, I am a professional. Oh, sorry. My phone is telling me I need to go pick up the kiddos. So I'm a professional myself. And I think in my job, and possibly in yours, but also in our private life, we all face pressure to speak or to react or to have an opinion about everything. Sometimes the wiser path is restraint, and that is what I wanted to drive home today, because reaction may get you attention for sure, but I think discernment keeps your integrity. And so it could be your, I don't know if what I'm about to say is a real term or if I made it up. It could be your business integrity, but we're more focused on our just being with integrity in our personal life. And so maybe the goal is not to be the loudest voice in the room or on X or on wherever, TikTok, wherever, or in real life, but to be the wisest one or to be wiser than yesterday. And that's the goal of this channel, is to try to grow together, learn from the internet together. Although people always say the internet is a bad place. The internet, in my opinion, is a great place to learn what to do and what not to do, in my opinion. But so it's to grow wiser every day. That's my proposition for this channel. And I think that in a world, if I look at Candace, in a place in a world that rewards outrage, like I said yesterday or the previous episode, silence has kind of become almost rebellious, almost counterculture. And if I do say so myself, being counterculture these days in this era we're in, it's kind of good. The culture is not proposing a lot of great stuff. That's my two-piece. And so I think to close this up, Candace's response is not just good PR, I guess. It's a reminder that some kind of emotional / business intelligence, and also for us listening to this channel, spiritual maturity go hand in hand. All of that go hand in hand. And it could look like being silent. Sometimes it could look like choosing to look weird to some people, but playing the long game, or at least being wise about how we go. Discussing our friends, our family, whether they're right or wrong, whether they're shady or guilty or innocent, I don't know. But being wise about how quick we talk about them, or how, if we do talk about them at all. And so I found that this kind of going viral tied well into my Thomas Massey Aftermath episode. And so, yeah, let me know what you think. I'm sure you have opinions. Just the fact, I'm going to put her name in my title just because I know people will gather here. And her name is very not neutral on the internet. So I'm going to do that shamelessly to bring people in so that maybe they can hear some wise words. But yeah, if you are a fan of her, let me know what you think. If you're a non-fan of her, let me know what you think. If you have theories about why she would have chosen to do that, let me also know what you think. When it comes to everything else, the investigation, what happened or not, like I said, it's not really the orientation of this specific channel, but if you want to share, it's welcome. Maybe we're going to learn something from it. All right, I'm going to go take care of my voice. You go take care of you. I will see you next time.